The claws are out. If you're a fan of the Real Housewives franchise, then you know that the drama, arguments, and fights are just as, if not more entertaining, than the extravagance of the glitz and glamour. When it comes to over-the-top conflict, no one else brings it quite like the ladies from Atlanta and New Jersey. Because of their big personalities, we've compiled and compared the top 10 fights from the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of New Jersey. From explosive arguments to physical altercations, these ladies have made reality television with their share of unforgettable fights over the years. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the top 10 fights between the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So, buckle up and get ready for some drama. Round 1. Kenya Moore and Porsha Williams from Atlanta versus Teresa Giudice and Danielle Staub from New Jersey. Although unfortunate, both fights involved physical altercations between cast members of the Real Housewives franchises. There are some differences between the two incidents.
You are a dumb hoe. Shut up. Yeah, you want to hear me? Fired. Get fired. You up. I will get fired. Get fired.
Firstly, the context of the fights is different. In the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the fight between Kenya Moore and Porsha Williams occurred during the reunion show, where the cast members come together to discuss and address the events of the season. In contrast, the fight between Teresa Giudice and Danielle Staub on Real Housewives of New Jersey occurred during the season finale episode, which was filmed during a group dinner. Secondly, the triggers for the fights were different. In the case of Real Housewives of Atlanta, the fight started after Kenya Moore brought up rumors about Porsha Williams' personal life.
I've known about a lot of people here that I chose not to bring to the table because
wait, what did she say
it wasn't
now?
appropriate at
She's
the
saying
time.
that you cheated on Cordell.
Porsha Williams reacted aggressively, leading to a physical altercation. However, in the case of Real Housewives of New Jersey, the fight was triggered when Danielle Staub accused Teresa Giudice of spreading rumors about her. Round 2. Kenya Moore and Nene Leakes from Atlanta in Season 12 versus Jennifer and Melissa's New Jersey in Season 12. The context of these two fights is different. The fight between Kenya Moore and Nene Leakes on Real Housewives of Atlanta occurred during the cast trip to Greece. In contrast, the argument between Jennifer Aydin and Melissa Georgia on Real Housewives of New Jersey took place during a cast trip to the Jersey Shore. In the case of Real Housewives of Atlanta, the argument between Kenya and Nene began when Kenya made some negative comments about Nene's behavior during a private conversation with Cynthia Bailey.
Read me what this, it's a Google alert. What does that say?
Yes, it says, Kenya Moore, Nene's a bully with no friends. Let the shade throwing begin.
Nene overheard the conversation and became very upset. However, in the case of Real Housewives of New Jersey, the argument between Jennifer and Melissa started when Jennifer made some comments about Melissa's husband, Joe Georgia. Both fights were intense and featured a lot of yelling and name-calling, but the physical aspect of the altercation was more prominent in the case of Real Housewives of Atlanta. In the argument between Kenya and Nene, Kenya aggressively waved a prop in Nene's direction, which led to her being escorted off the premises. Round 3. Teresa and Jackie from New Jersey in Season 11 versus Kandi Burruss and Porsha Williams from Atlanta in Season 11. Teresa versus Jackie from Real Housewives of New Jersey and Kandi Burruss versus Porsha Williams from Real Housewives of Atlanta were both significant fights that occurred during the 11th season of their respective shows. The fight between Teresa and Jackie occurred during a cast trip to Lake George, while the altercation between Kandi and Porsha happened during a group dinner. In the case of Real Housewives of New Jersey, the argument between Teresa and Jackie began when Jackie made a comment about Teresa's daughter that Teresa found offensive. In contrast, the fight between Kandi and Porsha on Real Housewives of Atlanta started when Porsha repeated a rumor about Kandi and her husband that Kandi found untrue. Both fights were intense and featured a lot of yelling and name-calling, but the physical aspect of the altercation was more prominent in the case of Kandi and Porsha. In contrast, the argument between Teresa and Jackie did not involve any physical contact. Round 4. Siggy and Margaret from New Jersey in Season 8 versus Kim Zolciak and Nene Leakes from Atlanta in Season 10. In Real Housewives of New Jersey Season 8, Siggy Flicker and Margaret Josephs engaged in a heated argument that quickly turned physical. The argument began when Margaret made a comment about Siggy's behavior, which Siggy found offensive. The argument escalated with both women yelling and name-calling. Siggy even threw a glass at Margaret, which caused her to leave the event in tears. This fight had a significant impact on their relationship, and they were unable to reconcile. In Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 10, viewers witnessed an explosive argument between Kim Zolciak and Nene Leakes during a cast trip. The argument began when Nene made comments about Kim's parenting and behavior, which Kim found offensive. The argument escalated quickly, with both women yelling and name-calling. Nene even threw a prop at Kim, which caused her to storm out of the event. This fight continued to have tension throughout future seasons, but they eventually sat down and talked about their issues and were able to move forward. Both fights were intense and featured a lot of drama, but they had different triggers, intensities, resolutions, and impacts. The fight between Siggy and Margaret turned physical, while the fight between Kim and Nene did not. The impact of the fights on their relationships was also different, with Siggy and Margaret being unable to reconcile, while Kim and Nene eventually resolved their issues. Nonetheless, both fights are memorable moments in the Real Housewives franchise and will go down in reality TV history. Round 5. Sherry Whitfield and Nene Leakes from Atlanta in Season 4 versus Caroline and Teresa from New Jersey in Season 4. In Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 4, viewers witnessed an explosive argument between Sherry Whitfield and Nene Leakes during a cast trip. The argument began when Nene made comments about Sherry's parenting and financial situation, which Sherry found offensive. The argument escalated quickly, with both women yelling and name-calling. The fight continued throughout the season, and they were unable to reconcile.
I don't need to take money from anybody. I am very rich, bitch. Understand? I am very rich.
You need to get your teeth fixed.
On the other hand, in Real Housewives of New Jersey Season 4, viewers saw Caroline Manzo and Teresa Giudice engage in a heated argument during a cast trip. The argument began when Teresa made comments about Caroline's family and parenting style, which Caroline found offensive. The argument escalated with both women yelling and name-calling. The fight also continued throughout the season, and they were unable to reconcile. Both fights were intense and featured a lot of drama, but they had different triggers, intensities, resolutions, and impacts. The fight between Sherry and Nene revolved around personal attacks on each other's finances and parenting abilities, while the fight between Caroline and Teresa was about personal attacks on each other's family and parenting styles. Both fights had a significant impact on their relationships, and they were unable to reconcile. Nonetheless, both fights are memorable moments in the Real Housewives franchise and are still talked about by fans today. And that's a wrap on our countdown of the top 10 fights between the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We hope you enjoyed the drama-filled ride. Let us know in the comments which fight was your favorite and if we missed any of your top picks. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time, thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next video.